I knew that when we saw the excitement on Alex Skolnick and Bumblefoot's faces, that we needed to continue to tell Jimmy's stories of Les and share these incredulous items in history with other musicians in the industry that have influenced people the same way that Les has, where guitar is as important to them as it was to Les. Maybe we can get some people down to Ernie's place with the help of our friend Paul Geary, who happens to manage Godsmack, Joe Perry, and, you know, this little known guy named Johnny Depp. As always, Paul delivered because he was able to get Gary Cherone, the lead singer of Extreme, and Van Halen, Pat Badger, unbelievable bass player from Extreme, and Dark Desert Eagles, as well as Barry Goudreau, the legendary guitarist from Boston, and Barry Goudreau's Engine Room.
We've been trying to do this since day one. You know, just get Les's story out there as to how Les and I met and how he wanted his legacy lived on. So on the way up to Boston, I told my wife, I said, you know, all these people are going to be there, you know, Paul Geary from Extreme, Gary Cherone from Van Halen, Barry from Boston, Ernie Boch. She goes, don't get your hopes up. And I said, why not? And she said, you've been trying to do this since day one, since Les died, and you just haven't gotten it to that level you want to get to. When we got into Ernie's property, my wife looked at me and she goes, this is what you've been dreaming about.
I mean, the room was incredible. Barry pulls me aside before this all happens, and I said, Benny, what's this all about? Like, what's going on here? Barry, strap in, my friend, because we brought some really important items from a really important person to you, and I'm pretty sure that you're going to be psyched. How about... Use a Bigsby? Do you even use a Bigsby? Did you ever use a Bigsby back in the day?
No.
What's the point of this thing? Is that it? Is that what it does?
That's it. That's what
All
it
right,
does.
so if there's anything we've demystified today, it's that a Bigsby actually does nothing.
You're not going to do any dive bomb moves with that.
Yeah, no Pantera, I don't think. Yeah. Pat, why don't you play this 1968 Les Paul Custom that brought Les back to Gibson with the Les Paulverizer on it?
I'm actually not interested. I'm here to only play Barry Goudreau's SG.
The guitar that Les Paul hated.
No, actually, okay, so one thing we found. Do you have it with you, Jimmy? Do you have the SG document?
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Okay, hold on, guys. Wait, hold your phones.
Yeah. Here, you want to read it? Here.
Wow, it's a feather.
It's like a
Hold
feather.
on.
Yeah.
Hold on. You guys want to have your minds blown right now? Check this out. This is, in his own words, exactly what's up with the SG. It's because of his divorce. It's because he didn't want to give money to Mary Ford, and he actually all wrote it down for himself. He cataloged exactly how he felt and why he left Gibson. This is not out there to the world. And just so you know, he wrote on the back of everything because he was a child of the Depression, so he always wrote, like, everything's on RMV paperwork, on the back of, like, grocery lists, bills.
I've got to check this out.
Yeah, so Barry Goudreau and his SG started with that paper right there, Pat. So thank you for the segue. I appreciate it, buddy. Good job.
Well, I just came here to see Barry.
And when Barry was nice enough to get his SG to Paul over there, I came and did a review of it and all of that. And I told him, oh yeah, he didn't like it because it looked like the heavy metal. Like, there's all these different stupid rumors. He tells you, right, it's money. Gibson was bumming him out. Mary Ford wanted to have kids and wanted to have a life and didn't want to be a mega rock star, and he couldn't walk away from the guitar. So in the divorce, he basically separated from Gibson, and they fired him / he quit mutually, which he puts right in there, and it turned into the Gibson solid guitar, as Barry Goudreau made famous with millions of records.
SG. That's what solid guitar is.
Solid guitar.
The reason I started playing an SG is because I saw Eric Clapton in Cream playing a red SG through a Marshall amplifier back in 1968. And I said, I gotta have that.
You want to have that one?
I gotta have that.
So that definitely was your, like, signature guitar.
I bought one the next year in '69, and it's a '68 model was the first one I bought.
Well, I'm just curious, what do you have against rhythm pickups? I mean, you're always on that lead, man.
Well, you know, yeah, pretty much. You know, in the Boston days, we only used the lead pickup.
Well, he's in good company with Eddie Van Halen. The other two were just, they weren't even wired up.
So you did the same thing as Eddie Van Halen. Dude, that's awesome.
Whenever Les called you during the day, you kind of got worried because he kept his hours. He slept all day, up all night. We run into the house, and there he is, got a coat on. He goes, come on, we got to go somewhere, and I'm driving.
Of course, Jimmy, as he's told me before, the one time he let Les drive, he ends up in a cornfield.
So I said, no, I'll drive. Where are we going? He said, don't worry, just get in. I said, Les, you got to tell me where we're going. And he pointed, we're going over there. Well, he pointed to the Meadowlands. And I know Van Halen's playing there because all my friends are going to the concert that night. So I said, Les, you just can't show up. He goes, yeah, I know.
Hearing Jimmy tell this, and just knowing that Les Paul, in his 90s, is sitting in the back of this car, keep driving, it's fine. Gonna go see my buddy Eddie.
So we pull in, there's this little security guard, and he goes, you got tickets? I'm like, nope. So right away he turns and he yells, trooper! All of a sudden this little trooper, I'm about my height, but stripes up and down, the meanest looking guy you ever want to run into. He comes up to the window, he sees my shield, I roll the window down, I'm like, yes sir. He goes, yo bro, you on the job? I'm like, yeah, I'm a cop up in Mawa. He goes, you got tickets? I'm like, no. He goes, man bro, I can't let you in. I said, yeah, but my buddy here, now I'm laughing. My buddy Les Paul wants to go say hi to his friend Eddie Van Halen. And he looks across and Les is sitting there. He runs around the front of the truck. Les rolls the window down and gives him a howdy. Troop goes, I just got a guitar from my daughter. It's got your name on it. And he goes, that's cool. Gave him an autograph. We got 2 state troopers with their lights on, escorting us to the back of the Meadowlands. We get to the players' entrance between the tour buses. I'm looking at Joe. I said, this guy still got it. So Les knocks on the door, and the voice inside goes, go the F away, I'm busy. Les looks at me and Joe goes, he's busy, and he laughs. Well, Les opens the door, and you hear a crack. I thought Les fell, so I go around the door, and I look at Eddie Van Halen standing in khakis, no shoes, no shirt, 2 cigarettes, one in his hand, one in the neck of the guitar, and he's crying. And he looked at Les, and he said, you came to see me. And Les said, you came to see me many years ago and surprised me. He goes, I'm paying that favor back.
It's Eddie Van Halen. One of the main reasons that I play guitar and listen to music, and Les Paul in the same room. I've never heard this story. I mean, it's never been published.
And Eddie's whacked. He just got out of rehab. He was whacked.
You could smell their cigarette smoke and the booze coming through the picture of Eddie.
Les said, first thing, get coffee, he had a little bottle of Gallo wine. Les goes, get coffee. We stayed in that little recording room, his practice room, for about 2 hours. I heard every riff you could ever imagine. At one point, Eddie said to Les, you still got it, Les? He goes, I think so. And Les said, you got it? And then Eddie goes up and down the neck. And it was funny because Les just sat there like looking at him like, Eddie's going crazy on the neck.
Les is sitting there with his arms crossed, just looking at him, judging him, eyeing him up.
All of a sudden Eddie goes, you still got it, Les? He goes, yeah, I think so. So he gives him the guitar, Wolfgang guitar. And Les goes, turn that amp up. So Eddie's like, whoa.
Then Les has the Wolfgang guitar on him. I mean, have you ever seen Les with a Wolfgang Eddie Van Halen guitar? I haven't either.
And he goes, you ready? And Eddie goes, yeah. And Les hits the high E and just had the sustain. 1 note. And it's just ringing and ringing. Finally, Eddie grabbed the neck and stopped. He goes, I get it, Les. And they laughed about it. We're watching the show, so after the fifth song, he goes, come on, Jimmy, let's go. So he put the coat on, and he huddles us all in. And I was like, what's up? He goes, you watching him out there? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I created a monster. That was the last time Les ever sat and talked to Eddie in person. They were very dear friends.
You could also see the love that these guys had for each other, with their arms around each other like brothers. I mean, it just gives me goosebumps thinking about it. And cheers to the heavens to both Eddie and Les.
I stayed in contact with Eddie over the years because he found out I had the black box, the Les Paulverizer. And he always tried to get it from Les, and Les would never budge on it. So once every month after that, I'd get a phone call from California. And I got the number memorized. Every time I saw the number, it'd be like, nah, it's not for sale yet, Eddie. And I'd hang up. And then he offered me a crazy number for that little black box. I said, nah, not yet. And unfortunately, Eddie had passed away, but I still got the black box. It was a good story. And a lot of fun. Eddie was a true gentleman, you know. And he loved Les. Les loved him. And 2 heroes are up there now, and they're making beautiful music up there.
This is the Les Paulverizer, which is the first backing track. What he used to do is he'd go like, and press this button, and he'd go, that's the drums! And he'd start playing back, and then he'd go,
It was like a looping pedal kind of thing.
But it wasn't. It was a backing track. And he made everyone think that he was actually doing it live. But the truth was, he actually developed this, and he convinced everybody, like David Copperfield style, that he was actually playing whatever he was recording. But in fact, he had already previously recorded it. And this was what actually controlled his tape machine. Jimmy, why don't you tell him this story?
Tell him the story. He went to play, was invited to play at the White House for Eisenhower and Nixon. And it's the first time they ever used the Paulverizer, which was nothing more than a looper. You're absolutely right. Pre-recorded, people thought it was magic. First time they're going to use it, Mary was deathly afraid of using it because they didn't test it. Everything was pre-recorded. You had a set list and you had to go down. Halfway through the set list, they took a break, and Nixon comes up to Les, said, "Mr. Paul, Mamie wants a request." Les turned white as a ghost. Now, Mamie's Eisenhower's wife. And Les panicked because you couldn't do a request because everything's pre-recorded. And he's like, "Well, what does she want to hear?" He says, "Next song she wants Folla con Dios." I said, "You got it." It was the next song on the list.
Oh my God.
I have to tell you that when I woke up the morning that I met Jimmy the Mayor, I did not think that my life was going to change completely. When I was at this guitar show in Natick, Massachusetts, we showed up with the Neurotic Guitarist crew because we were going to shoot an episode. And I'm walking around, and there wasn't a lot of stuff that was doing it for me. And over there in the corner is this 68 Les Paul Custom. Wow. Is this one of Les Paul's guitars? With the Les Paul recording pickups in it. And I immediately knew this is why I got up this morning. I'm Benny, by the way.
Benny, I'm Jim. How are you?
By the way, I shoot a guitar show, so I don't know if you mind. We'll feature you.
We had met at the Natick show, and I got this guitar, the white one.
I actually just got the sister to this guitar.
Did you really?
Yeah, I got the 1955 white one that was just like leftover, that's all filed down frets, has the XLR jack.
That's the one that was online.
So we became friends after the Natick Hotel, and I said, when we drove down there, I said, what are the chances that I find this guitar?
And I look at it, and I'm like, I know that guitar. It was stripped. There were no guts to it.
And that the pickups for this guitar and all the electronics just happened to be at this guy's house after 70 years. I don't know how that's possible.
It's a mystery.
It's a pretty serious mystery to me, Barry, and I have to think, as a guitar guy, do you think that that's interesting to you?
Supremely interesting, yeah.
It's got to be fate. I mean, we never met. We meet by coincidence at one of our Les Paul shows, and here we are today.
Wow! Oh my God. I'm offended by myself because I came in here thinking that there wasn't going to be anything good.
How does this happen without being fate?
I love this guy.
It's all good. It's all good.
I really
It's what
appreciate
it's all about.
You
The
just made
smile.
my day.
It's all about the smile.
Come over here, Barry. Ernie, you'll even appreciate this. These are all handmade picks from Les.
That he liked and was experimenting with.
But here's the coolest one of all. You see how that just says Les Paul? Seems inconspicuous. In 1945, Django Reinhardt came to see Les, and he made 50 of these for him and gave them to him backstage and said, play with these. This is a pick that Django made for Les. That's right. The gypsy jazz master himself, Django Reinhardt, in 1945, gave Les Paul a bunch of monogram picks. Pretty wild. And actually, Jimmy was nice enough, he gave me one of these picks. I practiced with one of Les's picks.
I got these guitar picks, and the last one I gave away, I think, was to Warren Haynes. I gave to Jerry Lita from Artemis Pyle's band. And I said, when you see Warren, I said, he's a Les Paul guy. He needs one of these. And Jerry called me one day. He ran into Warren in a coffee shop, and he said, hey, Haynes, I got something for my guys in Jersey, and handed him the guitar pick. He said Warren was just like, oh, my God. He goes, I love these style picks. Jerry explained to it where it came from, and he said it was like at all. And we gave one to Brian Setzer. Jimmy decides to pull one of these picks, one of these 1945 Django Reinhardt Les Paul monogram picks, and just hand it to Barry Goudreau. Hold on, I'm about to have a heart attack. I've been friends with this guy for so long. Look at this. Look, oh my God, I can't even believe this is happening right now. And then I said, I got something special for you. So I gave him one of Les's guitar picks that was given to him by Django Reinhardt, Les's idol. And Barry was just like, I can't. I'm like, yo, yeah, you can. It's yours. I said, for what you did for me when I was a kid listening to your music, you deserve it. I remember the 8-track in my Volkswagen. It was the Boss with the spaceship on it, and then to meet him.
Oh my God.
Do you feel like a kid on Christmas morning? I'm shaking just looking at you holding
I'll
that.
show you. Hang on a minute.
That's from Django.
I know, that's incredibly generous.
Hang on a minute.
I can't even believe this. That's from Django Reinhardt.
I'm gonna have to make some kind of display or something for that.
It's in the book, by the way. Those are actually cataloged. Wow. And the look on Paul Geary's face, as well as Barry, because I don't think Barry has cracked a smile since '79 at the Boston Garden. But you can see the history of Les Paul. And all of these stories that Jimmy's telling mean so much.
Incredible. Thank you.
Paul doesn't understand, and Ernie, I'm holding you to this. This is his actual master
Wow.
himself.
Really means a lot. No, this
No,
really
to you
does mean a
guys,
lot.
I mean, you guys are in
he
a,
has it with his silly
I don't
tape.
play
No,
the
this
guitar.
is- this
You
is
know,
really
this
special.
is
That's it.
more special. My wife and I to watch your faces when you see this shit. That's what it's all about.
I know, right? Well, it is.
That's what it's all
amazing.
It is very, very...
I'll trade you that for the.
You could see it in my eyes because I was so filthy with rage and jealousy that Jimmy would do something so crazy as to give this Django pick not to me, but in front of me.
It was spur of the moment, but as Les, when he gave me the guitar picks, and if it was very special to us, like the record and like the memoirs, he always said, "I trust you'll know what to do with it." That was his famous line. Put it under your bed for a rainy day.
Man, I gotta say thank you to Ernie Boch Jr. for letting us use his house. I mean, this guy's got a place. And if you wanna, I guess, host a show or host some rock and roll musicians, maybe Barry Goudreau, maybe Gary Cherone or Pat Badger, you have them come over to Ernie's place because Ernie, first off, is a patron of the arts. That guy is fun. And there are very few people in Boston that do more for the arts than this man. He has the Music Drives Us Foundation. He goes and shows up with ukuleles and recorders in the hundreds and gives them to kids in schools. He really, truly is a man that if you call him and say, "Hey dude, I want to do something about guitar, I want to do something for history, I want to do something for music," his answer is always yes. And for that, I appreciate you, Ernie Boch Jr.
You know, money's great. Don't get me wrong. Money's great. My shore house got washed away. I don't know if I told you the story, but he'd always say, "Put it under your bed for a rainy day." So I had this old guitar. It was a guitar that I got many years ago from Les, and it sat in my basement after he died. And I sent it to Gibson. My wife said, "Get it fixed." I was going to throw it away because it was just an acoustic beat-up guitar. Ends up being Les Paul's 1935 L7 with the stylus holes in it. He ran through his mother's phonograph. And I said, "I'm not just going to go sell it to go buy a car or a boat." But Superstorm Sandy came in 2013 and washed my shore house down in Ortley Beach, New Jersey off the map. And that's when it hit me. I took Les's words, "Save it for a rainy day." Well, if anybody remembers Superstorm Sandy, that was one hell of a rainy day. So I called a friend in Nashville, and he was very, very interested in the guitar. And he made a promise to me. He's a big guitar guy, big collector, that I will never let this guitar out of my family's sight. He bought the guitar. And if you go to my shore house in Ortley Beach, New Jersey, you'll see a sign above my door. It says, "Save this for a rainy day." It's a house Les Paul built.
The guy obviously changed not just the instruments people play, but it really changed the course of rock and roll. I mean, for
All of us.
all of us, yeah. The band Boston, you think of Led Zeppelin. I mean, the list goes on and on. How Les really changed the world, or the landscape of music.
Well, for me to be able to play the guitars that Les Paul played, especially the one that he had in his bedroom you mentioned, that was really special.
Yeah.
Wow. Especially seeing the picture in the book of Les Paul's hand holding the pick in his hand. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's
Oh my
amazing.
God. So I get a little piece of Les Paul to take with me.
Oh, and Django.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it. Yeah. This was an amazing day.